Hey everyone, AZ Plant Reviews here. You're wondering why this is happening to your agaves right now? Well, the answer is partially simple. You noticed how it hasn't really rained? It's rained a couple times, but nowhere near as much as the past several years, and nowhere near as much as it's supposed to rain. When it doesn't rain and the temperatures go as high as they were, and specifically when the nighttime temperatures don't get low enough, pretty much all of the plants, including the desert plants, essentially start suffocating. I talked about this a little in my video about why the ficuses are all dying. Now, specifically agaves, though, the agaves lasted a little bit longer before this started happening to them, but they were also basically suffocating, and especially ones that are right against walls and sitting on landscaping gravel like this. During days when the temperature of the air is 110 degrees, corners like this around the surface where the roots are that tells the plant whether to live or die can reach up to 150 degrees, which is at or above the denaturing point even for some plant cells. So it's not an easy condition to be in. And when that starts happening for prolonged periods of time and these agaves are suffocating, bugs and stuff can tell that they're weak. And the bugs in particular that can tell that agaves and yuccas, there's a dying yucca right over there too, that are weak, is the Palo Verde beetle. I don't know if you've ever seen them, these big, long, ugly-looking kind of beetles. Their larvae go specifically into agaves that are weak. The beetles can tell when an agave is weak. They go into the weak agave, and then they go straight down into the core and consume the weak, fleshy insides, which causes the whole thing to suddenly, sometimes within a day, just plop like this. This agave, I wouldn't say it looked fine a week ago, it was suffering, but it had not plopped like this a week ago. There were most likely Palo Verde beetles or other kind of boring insects involved with this. So this is just another thing that happens when, plants that aren't really native to this area go through periods of hardship like this. The fairy dust is supposed to be kind of dormant at this time of year. The Palo Verdes out in the distance are doing all right. Mesquite trees are generally doing fine. It's the non-native stuff. Now you must be thinking, but Mr. AZ Plant Reviews, agaves are native to Arizona, and it's kind of true. I'll say yes with an asterisk, a very important asterisk. Agave Americanas, like this one, are indeed native to parts of Arizona, but not this elevation. You will only really see agave Americanas and artichoke agaves and Murphy agaves and all the kinds of agaves that you'll find in Arizona's nature when you're at least 3,000 feet up, and they get really prevalent between the 3,500 and 5,000 foot range. Down here in Tempe, where the elevation is I think 1,200 feet or something like that, it is significantly hotter down here, and the agaves are generally strong enough for that, but super tough drought-like, heat wave-like conditions like this are still going to be enough to cause them issues, just like what's happening to all the other trees out here. Again, especially when it's right against a wall like this. So, yes, they are native, and 1,000 years ago, during the height of the Hohokam civilization, there were agaves at this elevation because things were much wetter 1,000 years ago, much cooler, and they cultivated specific varieties of agaves just for eating. So we can see in their archaeological record that there used to be a ton of agaves down at this elevation. But during a time period that it seems people are usually calling the Southwest mega drought or the North American mega drought, which was a drying period which took place through the 1200s through 1400s AD, which basically took out and rearranged most of the civilizations around the American Southwest back then. also caused a lot of ecological shifts, and so you will not find agaves in nature very often down at this low elevation, unless maybe it's in like a really shady spot and some lucky birds carried some lucky seeds to lucky spots. So, unfortunately, this is kind of our fate here with big agaves in hot locations like this. So, if you have any other questions, just feel free to ask in the comments. Bye.